Hi everybody, we are back for 5 Points English for a very important lesson today. We're going to be working today on conversational skills. Now, I know that as 5 Point English students, you are all very focused on doing well on your Bagrut exam. But I would like to say that the Bagrut exam is really not the most important thing. The most important thing in learning English is to really learn the language and to be able to use the language after you get out of high school and really for the rest of your life. And so today's lesson will hopefully give you some tips for practicing your English. Because as you all know, English is not something that you can learn in just one lesson. You're going to be learning it over a period of time and practice. So let's get started with the lesson. What are we going to do today? Can you carry on an informal conversation with your friends in English? Can you have a formal discussion on a familiar topic in English? Can you understand a conversation? And can you make yourself understood? Other people understand you in a conversation in English. Our lesson today is going to give you all kinds of tools to learn how to improve in all these areas. Here's our lesson plan. It's actually pretty simple. First, we're going to have a little introduction. Then we will work on listening skills. After the break, we will work on speaking skills. And then we'll do a little bit of review. And you'll see the lesson will go by really fast. It'll be over already. So, most importantly, if you really want to learn English, you have to take it out of the classroom. 4 to 5 weeks in your English class to study the English language is not enough. If you want to become a fluent speaker of the language, somebody who can speak, hold on conversations, and be understood, understand others, you need to do more than just what you learn in your English class. You're going to have to do work, but I'm putting work here in quotation marks because I'm hoping that what I'm giving you to do and these tips that you'll learn today will really not feel like you're working. It's going to take weeks, take months, and even years to get to a point where you feel like you really have control of the English language. It is impossible to just study over the weekend, and become fluent by your exam next week. Boys and girls, that's not going to happen. You have to take English out of the classroom. I want you to try to learn how to practice English while doing other things that you normally do throughout your day. So I'm going to teach you to use all kinds of tricks to practice English while you're riding the bus, or while you're exercising, waiting in line, or doing all kinds of other things that you would normally have to do throughout the day anyway. To get over your fear of communicating in English, you're going to have to accept that your English might not ever be perfect. It probably won't be, okay? Right now, from this point, you will have to accept that you are going to become a speaker of the English language with mistakes. And that's okay. I read somewhere very recently that 80% of the world's English speakers are not native speakers of the language. That means that most people are in the same boat that you're in. They're speaking English as a second language that they learned. And so people understand that the majority of people speaking English are not native speakers and they make a mistake. So you have to accept and get over that fear of making mistakes, which is keeping you from really participating in English. And then you will start to be able to really use the language and become more confident. As I said, English is for using in your life. It's not just for the classroom. You can use English to do all kinds of things that you already want to do in your life. For example, you can use English to learn a new hobby. There are all kinds of things on the internet for you to learn in English. So already, like say for example, you wanted to learn how to, basket weave, okay? So you might not even have videos available in Hebrew to learn how to do this. So learn a new hobby in English, and here you'll gain two things. You'll get a new hobby and you will practice your English. You can watch movies, TV shows, plays, and listen to comedy all in English. And all doing these things, you're practicing English while doing what you want to be doing in your free time. You can get to know new people. The internet is an amazing thing, and you can get to know new people using English. Also, not just on the internet, you can use English to meet new people, even in your hometown. If you have Olim Chadashim, and English is your common language that you will communicate in, that's great. So you'll have to practice getting to know people in English. Also, if you want to travel internationally, right now during the corona pandemic may not be really the time to do international travel unless you do it virtually. But after this is all over and things get back to normal and you go and you travel to other countries, most likely you will need to communicate with people in other countries in the English language. Now, I want to make a very important point. If your partner, the person that you're speaking English with, is speaking too quickly for you to understand, all you have to do is ask them to slow down. It's fine to tell them, English is not my first language. Could you please speak a little bit more slowly? There's nothing wrong with doing that. And to tell you the truth, I do it all the time when I'm speaking to people in Hebrew, okay? I tell them, listen, you're gonna have to speak a little bit more slowly because I'm not following, and that's okay. It's really okay. And if you don't catch what somebody says, then you can say, pardon me, if it's a formal conversation, or if it's less formal, you can say, what did you say? Or I didn't catch your last point. Or you might say, like if it's a very informal conversation, you can just say, what? Right? And these things are all okay to do, to ask somebody to repeat themselves. So now we're going to get into working on listening. Now, if you want to become a really good listener, and this is true not just for practicing English, but really in your native language as well. If you want to be a person that really listens to other people, you're going to need to put aside distractions. And that basically means your telephone, okay? If you're listening to somebody, put your phone aside. And that's going to do two things. One, it will help you to pay attention to what somebody's saying better. That way you'll understand them better. And secondly, and maybe even more importantly, it will make the person you're talking to feel like you really are listening to them. Have you ever been speaking with someone and telling them maybe something that happened to you during the day, and they're there playing on their phone or checking messages or sending messages, and you feel like you're not really being listened to? I have. Okay, I don't expect you to answer me, but I know that happens to me all the time, and I think I might even be guilty of doing this myself to other people. And then I feel bad afterwards because I realize I wasn't really giving that person my attention. If you want to be a good listener, you have to put aside all distractions. Put your phone away. Another thing that you can do for improving your English is watch TV with subtitles. Now, you might do this already, okay? Like watching TV programs in English with Hebrew or Arabic subtitles, or you might be watching, say for example, something on Netflix with English subtitles. I'm going to encourage you to do this more, but to do it really mindfully, which means you're actually really paying attention to the subtitles, okay? And this will do a few things. One, if you watch programs in English and you really read the English subtitles, like for example on Netflix, then you can catch more of the dialogue. You'll understand more of what the people are saying. That means that you will learn more language. If you use English subtitles, it'll help you to learn vocabulary. It helps you learn sentence structure, but only if you're really paying attention. And this may sound strange to you, but I can tell you that this is the way that I think I learned more Hebrew than anything else. And believe me, I spent a lot of years studying Hebrew in university and other places to learn the Hebrew language. And what taught me more Hebrew than anything else would be watching TV programs, whether it's in English or in Hebrew, and reading the Hebrew subtitles. Because I would listen and hear words and see how they were translated. And this would give me vocabulary, as well as teach me sentence structure, like how to put words together in a sentence. Okay, but if you want to learn this way, you have to really pay attention. You can also do the opposite, which is not only using English subtitles, but you can listen to programs in English with Hebrew or Arabic subtitles. And this will teach you more vocabulary. Okay, it will also help you to learn idioms, which are like expressions in the English language. Listening to programs in English can help you with your pronunciation, right? To learn how to pronounce words better and how to use words. If you really listen, not just read the subtitles, but listen to what's being said in English, then you will learn how to use words. Another really important thing about listening to what other people are saying is to ask WH questions, okay? Doing this shows your partner that you're really paying attention. This is the way that you get more details and information about what they've said. So for example, you might ask something like, why did you do that? Or what makes you feel that way? Or how did that happen? Okay? But just make sure that you're not only practicing the speaking of saying the sentence or asking the sentence, but that you also really listen to your partner and listen to their answer. And what do you do if you don't understand their answer? Remember? Ask them to repeat it. Or be more specific. Don't just say, could you repeat what you just said? But say what it is that you didn't understand about what they said. So for example, you could ask specifically what a certain word means. Or you could say, I didn't understand when you said XYZ. Okay? We are now going to get into what's called active listening skills. Active listening is very, very important, not only in English, but in everything that you do in your life, whether it's sitting in a classroom or speaking to people, like whether it's your friends or your teachers or your family, or even if you go into a doctor appointment or anything else, okay? It's important to practice active listening skills. There are 7 of them that we're going to look at today. To encourage, to obtain information, to restate, to clarify, to empathize, to summarize, and to reframe. Now we're going to look at what each of these words is. The first and simplest one, when you are really listening to somebody, is encouraging. When you're talking to someone and they don't encourage you, you stop and you wonder if they're actually even listening to you. This is small things like when someone's talking and you say, uh-huh, or I see, or really. Okay, this is just encouraging them to continue further. And I've even experienced times when, like, say, you're talking to somebody on the phone, right, that you can't see them, and you're talking and you don't get this encouraging feedback, and then you stop and say, are you still there? Okay, because a speaker has to be encouraged. And it's very simple, just uh-huh or mm-hmm, just like that. The next tool is called obtaining or getting information. And we do this by asking questions to draw the information out of the person that we're talking to. So you say things like, tell me about your day, okay? This is obtaining information from the other person. Or how did that happen? Okay, say your friend tells you, I got fired from my job. That's all they say. Tell me, how did that happen? you probably don't want to ask them, what was that like? You would ask, what was that like about something else, okay? The next tool for active listening is restating. Restating shows the speaker that you're really listening and that you've understood what they said. So basically, you're repeating what they've said, but in different words. So you use terms like, so do you mean such and such? Or what you're saying is that. Basically, you're repeating what they've said in other words. That's restating. Next, clarifying. Clarifying comes from the same root as clear. Basically, what you're trying to do when somebody's talking to you, you want to clarify a point. Something they said wasn't 100% clear, and so you ask a question in order to understand what they're saying to you. Could you please explain? Or I'm not sure what you meant by. Or I didn't understand why you said such and such. That's clarifying. Empathizing. You might already know this word. Empathizing shows the other person that you can understand their feelings or their perspective. This one can be very difficult. You can use terms like, I understand why you felt upset or happy. Or that really doesn't make sense. Or I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, those are ways to show the speaker that you are empathizing with them and you're really listening to what they say. Summarizing. At the end of a conversation, you summarize by telling the main points. And you can't do this unless you've been listening very actively, okay? So at the end of a conversation, you might say things like, so all in all, or to make a long story short, you think XYZ. Or in short, you feel right. That's summarizing. And you probably do that all the time, say when at the end of a lesson, or maybe after reading an article, then you're asked to summarize. Finally, the last active listening skill is reframing. Reframing is after you've really heard a whole story, then you think about how to move forward with it and to problem solve. So you want to start to move away from the past and into the future. So you might say things like, I'm really sorry that happened. Let's think about how we can solve that problem. Or what if we did this? Or even, have you tried talking to your teacher? Maybe. Okay, what we're going to do now is the memory game. Probably you're familiar with the memory game. You used to play it when you were a little kid. You've got a bunch of cards and you have to match up pairs. We're going to do this with the new vocabulary. Each of those terms came with a little picture to remind you of what it meant, right? So here we go. We're going to match up the words with their little picture to get the vocabulary into our minds. To summarize, which one of these pictures shows to summarize? See the pictures? Which one is summarizing? There you go. It's the one over here in the corner, right? The little checklist to summarize the main points of what has been said. Next, what is to encourage? Do you remember encourage? To encourage is to give that feedback that the speaker needs to know that they can continue and that you're listening. Here we go. That is to encourage. Well done. The next word, to obtain information. What is to obtain information? Right, to get it out of the other person. And we do that, remember, by asking questions. We obtain information. What is to clarify? Remember, it comes from that same word as clear, right? To clarify is to make a point clear, and we do that by asking questions. Next, subtitles. What are subtitles again? Yep, on a TV, the subtitles are the words at the bottom, what's being said. To restate. Re is to do again. State is to stay, right? To restate is to say again in different words what has already been said so that you can show the speaker that you have understood what they're saying. To reframe. Which one is to reframe? You only have two choices here. Right. To reframe is to start to look forward towards problem solving. If you have a problem, if the speaker has a problem and you've heard them talk about it, then you start to look towards the future about how you can think to solve that problem. And finally, to empathize is to understand the speaker's perspective. Now, we're going to go into a 10-minute break. During this break, I want you to practice your listening skills. And you're going to do this by watching a YouTube video. Okay? I want you to go into YouTube, find a how-to video. Think of what you would like to learn how to do, whether it's how to bake a chocolate cake or how to do a headstand or I don't know what, something that you want to learn anyway. Don't just use the things that I'm telling you. Something that you actually want to learn how to do. Go into YouTube, look up a how-to video, and I want you to listen to it, and if there's something you don't understand, then to pause the video, back it up, and play it again. I'll see you in 10 minutes. Okay, we are back from the break now. I hope you took the opportunity to get up and stretch a little bit and go to the bathroom if you need to, get something to eat, and that you also had the time to go and sit and watch a YouTube video. What did you watch? Did you find a how-to video on YouTube? I can tell you the possibilities are endless. You can learn how to knit. I know somebody who did that. You could learn to play the guitar. If you're somebody who likes to wear makeup, you can learn to put on eyeliner. There are hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of instructional makeup videos on YouTube. You can learn to play some kind of game that you've always wanted to learn how to play, learn to bake a cake or cook anything else. Absolutely endless. Whatever you are into, you can practice your English, learn English while you're doing what you want to do. And this is what I was talking about in the beginning of the lesson, that you don't need to take lots of extra time working. I want you to feel like you're doing something that's enjoyable and you can learn English in that way. So, the first part of the lesson we worked on listening. Now I'm going to give you some skills for practicing your speaking skills. First of all, you're gonna have to jump into the hot water, the cold water, whatever I can't remember what the expression is, but you're gonna have to jump in the pool, okay? If you want to learn how to speak, you are gonna have to just do it, okay? I'm gonna give you 5 different tips to improve your English speaking fluency. Fluency means speaking smoothly so that it runs like a river and that you don't stop every few seconds to think about how to say something. The first one is talk to yourself. Second, focus on fluency, not grammar. Third, listen and repeat. Fourth, plan ahead. And fifth, put yourself in situations where you have no crutch. Now I'm going to get into what each of these means. First of all, talk to yourself in English. You might feel a little bit funny doing this at first, but it's not that strange. People talk to themselves all the time. So while you're doing things throughout the day, go ahead and narrate, means talk to yourself, and tell yourself what you are doing in English. For example, I go downstairs in the morning, what should I have for breakfast? Maybe I'll make myself an egg. Let's see, what's in the refrigerator? How about some cottage cheese and vegetables? No, I think I'll just have a bowl of cereal. Basically, talk to yourself in English. And this will do a couple of things. It'll improve your fluency. So just using the language will make you speak more smoothly. And also, a lot of you probably feel funny speaking English. You don't like the way you sound when you speak English, and you're shy about speaking English. If you talk to yourself in English more, you'll get used to the way you sound. So you'll improve and you'll get used to it, and it'll help you to get over your shyness. So talk to yourself in English. Here's an example. This is my son, Dean, talking to himself. Let's see.
Oh, he's also cute. Look at those ones. Aw. Maybe I'll make an origami dog. Yeah. Let's see. My paper's up there. Can't reach it. Alright, let's get a chair. Alright, let's try to get it down. Alright, yeah, I forgot to keep the origami paper down here. Alright. Let's see. Orange paper, yellow paper. Oh, flower paper. Yes, flower paper is nice. Let's see. I forgot that I don't know how to fold paper into a dog.
Oops. Okay, so in that video, Dean did 2 things that I'm telling you to do for practicing your English. One, he was watching, looking at things on the internet in English, okay? He was looking at pictures. He was maybe even could even watch a how-to video about how to make an origami dog, but also he was just talking to himself in English, just not trying to use really high-level vocabulary, not searching for complex grammar structures, just talking. And I think that this will really, really help you. The second tip is to focus on fluency, not on grammar. And I've already mentioned this a couple of times. It's okay to make mistakes. If you make a mistake or you forget a word, just keep going. If you can't remember a certain word, use other words to say what you're trying to say. If you make some other kind of mistake, it's all right. Just keep going. You might have noticed, even during my recording of this video, that there were words that I made a little mistake here or there, and I just corrected myself and kept going. The person that you're talking to will understand what you're trying to say, even if you make a mistake. Most of the time, they'll understand you, and if they don't, they'll just ask you a question, and that's okay. And they will also respect you for trying, right? They'll respect you instead of just keeping quiet, that you're actually making an effort to speak their language. Next time, try to fix the mistake that you made before, but just keep going. And I'm going to show you another example here. I have here a video of my student Asaf. And Asaf is a perfect example, in my opinion, of somebody who, it's okay, he makes some mistakes in his language, and sometimes he pauses, but he just keeps going. And in my opinion, he does a great job. And if every student could speak English the way he does, I think they'd be doing great. Let's hear Asaf.
Hi, Mrs. Yona. I want to talk to you about the problem that me and my team have in the project in diplomacy major. So our problem is that our topic of the project is constantly changing. We choose to do the project on the economic crisis due to the coronavirus. And as we go on with the project, it's changing and evolving, and it's affecting what we're supposed to do in the project. I wanted to ask for your opinion on what we should do about it.
Okay, so Asaf sent me a video of himself telling me about a problem that he was having with his project. Okay, and you might have seen he made a couple mistakes here or there. There were times when he had to pause to try to think of what he wanted to say, but that's okay. If you can speak like that, you're doing a great job. Oops. Okay, the next tip is to listen and repeat. Now, this comes in 2 steps, and this is one of the things that I'm telling you to do, which actually does take slightly longer than just doing something that you're regularly doing throughout the day anyway. This is something that I don't want you to take a long time to do. Like, I don't want you to do this with an entire movie or an entire TV show, but maybe just a little bit each day. First, choose a recording of something that you want to listen to anyway. It might be a podcast of a show that you're interested in, or it might be watching a how-to video on YouTube. It might be a comedian that you like to listen to, but have a recording in English. Listen to it 1 sentence at a time, okay? Pause it after each sentence and repeat what you heard. You have to really pay attention to do this, okay? And this will help you with learning new vocabulary. It'll help you with learning sentence structure, like learning how sentences are put together because you're saying properly what they have said. It'll help you to learn grammar and also teach you idioms, right? Little expressions in English. So here's an example. I love to watch this woman named Adrian do yoga. I wish I did it more, but anyway, she's got this video here of how to do crow pose, which is what you see here. I'm trying to learn how to do it. It's very, very hard. I usually fall on my face. okay? But let's see if we can practice one sentence at a time. Here's Adrian.
All right, let's begin lying down.
All right, begin lying down.
Come.
Oops, what did I just do? Okay, so she said, come to your back and take a moment.
To your back and take a moment to just take the deepest breath you've taken in.
To take just the deepest breath in that you've taken all day, my friend. Okay, this is a little bit hard because I can't really see it properly and I can't hear the video as you're hearing it, but this is what I want you to do. You can watch a video or listen to something with subtitles or without subtitles and pause it and repeat what they're saying. Oops, how do I keep going?
All day, my friend.
The next tip, if you have a conversation that you are planning to have take place, right? Somebody you know you're gonna need to talk to or that you want to talk to, then I think you should plan ahead. Think ahead of time of what topics you want to talk about. You might even think of a couple of words that are relevant to the conversation that you want to use. Like say, for example, if it's a job interview. Okay, so think ahead of time of some good words that you could use. And if it's appropriate, like say, for example, a job interview, you could even come to the conversation with your notes. With an informal conversation, that's not usually really appropriate. Like, have you ever been, say, with a friend and they sat down with you and they had a list of things that they wanted to talk about with you? It's a little bit strange, okay? So you probably shouldn't do that if it's an informal conversation. But if it's a more formal meeting, then you can have a list of points that you want to make and it's totally appropriate. So here's an example. Let's say there's a new student in your class at school and she or he is an immigrant from another country. You want to get a chance to talk to him or her and you can practice your English while doing that. You might even have to use English because maybe they don't know your native language of Hebrew or Arabic. So what could you talk to them about? Think ahead of time. Okay, I'm gonna go and talk to that girl. I could ask her, where did you live before you moved here? How is our school different from your own school? Do you like to play basketball? Do you want to join us this afternoon? I'm gonna be playing basketball with some of my buddies. Do you want to join us to play basketball? Or do you want to join us to go to the mall or whatever else? We're going to a movie, not during Corona times, but other times. Okay, so you can think of things that you want to say to the person in English. Plan ahead. And finally, force yourself to speak English, which means put yourself in a situation where you have to speak English. You don't have a choice. So for example, there are global online chats on all different topics. You might want to check with your parents first if it's okay with them for you to be talking to other people that you don't know. If your parents say it's okay, you can go online and talk about all different topics and get to know people in other countries who don't know your native language. So you have to do it in English. You can connect with elderly English-speaking immigrants, right? So you might have in your community, maybe even in your building, elderly people who moved here from an English-speaking country. A lot of times they're alone and lonely, and they don't see a lot of people throughout the day. And so they'd be really, really happy if you came and sat with them and spoke to them in English. You would get to practice your English, and they'd get to have some company. It's great. Also, there are programs set up in which you can contact with elderly people abroad, and they will help you improve your English. And you can ask your English teacher about such programs. Finally, if you really have the confidence, these are really high-level activities, but you can take part in an online debate in English, a Model United Nations conference, or you can see if you can meet with a diplomat online speaking English. For those things, you won't be able to do it in your native language and you have to use English, so you have no choice and you get to practice your language. As I said, you have to take English beyond your English lesson in school. If you use these strategies that I've given you, don't try to do every single one tomorrow, but maybe try them one at a time. One day do one thing, another day do another thing. If you do just 20 minutes every day, and I'm saying this that you're doing something that you already like to do. For example, going out for a run, which you're going to do anyway, right? And you're listening to English and repeating what you hear. So you're practicing English while you're doing what you already want to do. If you do just 20 minutes a day, you could potentially put in 120 more hours of English every year. Do you know how much that is? That's like a whole another 5 hours of English a week or something like that. I don't know, I didn't do the math, but that's like twice as much as like having your English class twice, okay? What I'm saying is you have to take English beyond the lesson in school if you really are committed to learning the English language. So, what have we learned today? Well, I have to say, you're not coming out of today's lesson with some kind of new skill, okay? So you might say that you haven't really learned anything today. What I'm hoping is that you're coming out of today's lesson with tips and ideas, and maybe just at least one of the things that I've said that you'll say, okay, I can do that outside the classroom, and that you'll use it to improve your English. So, first of all, we learned some new vocabulary, right? Remember? So, we have here words and their definitions are jumbled up, and we're going to match the word with the correct definition. Remember the active listening words: to encourage, to obtain information, to restate, to clarify, to empathize, to summarize, to reframe. And we also learned the word subtitles, which is not an active listening skill. And we have here the definitions. So let's go through and match up the words with their correct definitions. What is to encourage? Do you remember encourage? That's when you try to help the person who's speaking and giving them the encouragement, right? To help them along, to know that you're listening and they speak better. Saying things like or or really. Here we go. To help or give support so someone will continue speaking. To obtain information. What does it mean to obtain information? Remember? To get information, usually by asking questions. We draw information out of the person who's speaking. To restate. What is to restate? Remember, means again, and state is to say. So, to say again what the speaker has said. You're repeating what they've said, but in your own words to make sure that you've understood. To clarify. What is to clarify? It's the same word, to make clear. Clair, right, is clear. To empathize. What is to empathize? To understand and share someone's feelings. To summarize. Remember, you have to do this lots of times when your teacher asks you to read an essay or an article, or even at the end of a lesson, you're asked to summarize, which is to give the main points of something. To reframe. At the end of hearing about somebody's problem, you're going to help them to reframe, which is to look at something in a new way, to problem solve and to move forward. And finally, subtitles are the words at the bottom of the screen telling you what's being said. So, what did we do today? Let's restate, right? So, we looked at 5 ways to improve your English speaking fluency. Talk to yourself. Remember like what Dean was doing when he was getting out the origami paper? Focus on fluency, not on grammar, like my student Asaf, right? Who spoke very fluently without worrying about how correct the language was. Listen and repeat. That's what I did with the yoga video, remember? I stopped Adrienne after she said one sentence and I repeated what she said. Plan ahead. Remember the new student at your school and you want to get to know them and they don't speak your native language, so you talk to them in English, but plan ahead. Plan before you meet with him or her what you're going to talk about. And finally, put yourself in situations where you have no crutch. You have no choice but to say or hear what you want to say in English. Practice active listening skills, not just in English, but in all areas of your life, right? Take the time outside of class to practice English and force yourself, okay? You have to get over it. Get over that you don't feel confident, because you will never gain the confidence unless you start having conversations. So finally, I put this picture here. Talk to your dog. He won't judge you, and it's a great way to practice your English. So I hope that today you have learned something and that you'll go out and you'll start practicing speaking and listening and having conversations in the English language. Bye till next time. What did we do today? Going forward, communication involves giving and taking. You have to be able to both listen and understand as well as speak and be understood. So use the tools that we've learned today and you'll see your fluency improve. And remember that you have to be patient, okay? I wrote here, practice makes perfect, but remember, you're probably not gonna be perfect, okay? Like, remove the idea of perfection from your lexicon, okay? And just think about becoming more fluent. So, with practice, I'm not saying you can do these things now, but with practice, you will be able to have an informal conversation with your friends in English, have a more formal discussion with others on a familiar topic in English, understand conversation, and make yourself understood in conversation in English. So, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.